Oh, good. It's reassuring that Lily's here to show us how to get to the allotment, because she seems to think we're going to forget every time. Going to show us the way, Lil? Which one is it? Which one is our one again? Hey girlies, did I hear a hello from some girlies? Huh? There's those girlies. Hello, hello. Hello. Oh, your thing's a bit wobbly, girlies. I'm gonna have to fix that, huh? I'm gonna have to fix that, girls. Yeah, we found our way, Lil. We did, we found our way here.
Half your dish is full up of water. Only half.
Good morning. It is Thursday morning and we've had like torrential rain for about 2 days. And let me just show you how green everything is. I mean, obviously we've had a couple of weeks now where we've had a bit of rain, but it just seems like the last couple of days everything is just like whoosh. It's quite bright. Look at this. The paths are back to being green again. Everything is just and it's not a September kind of green either. It's like proper spring green, because everything's just come back to life after just suffering, basically. It is magical. Yeah, it's a really, really vibrant green for this time of year. And look, lush grass. It's a bit wet to strim actually, but it does need it. It's gorgeous. Pretty green, huh? Yeah, sorry about, I've got stuff all over. I've just been sort of sorting out the chicken's house when I came up here, and I got covered in, you know, diatomaceous earth and all the bits and pieces you're supposed to put in their house. Never mind. Right, I am up here this morning to sow some spinach and plant out the last lot of spinach. So you remember that the spinach that I have growing in the greenhouse, actually let me just show you. So these ones are the spinach that I've had growing, and we had really quite poor germination. Like that whole tray, sorry, I've just whacked my head on the ceiling. That whole tray was just full of seed, and we've had really quite poor germination. But how many have we got in there? 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 plants. That's it. Not fantastic. So I'm going to plant these out into the bed that's going to be covered. So that's the one that's got the kohlrabi in it, and then I'm going to sow some more. Because yesterday I was in Wilko's in Kingston and I picked up some spinach seed. You know, Wilko's is really cheap for seed anyway. I mean, look, that's 25p. Actually, that Americana spinach is the one that Mum goes crazy for. It is magnificent. The leaves are huge and they're like dinosaur footprint shape. They're gorgeous. Anyway, I also picked up just some bog standard spinach. But when they went through the cashier's till, they came up at 5p each. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry, that's the wrong price. Should have just left it really, but yeah, I said, oh, I'm really sorry, that's the wrong place. They're meant to be like £1.25, and she was like, oh, whatever. So yeah, this cost me 10p, which I'm pretty pleased about. So I'm going to sow them today and hope for better germination. Just come in the shed to get my hori to do the planting, and I've just remembered that because, do you remember last week I said that a set of allotments near us, sorry about the banging, because the set of allotments near us got broken into, we took some of like the things that we really didn't want nicked home last week, which was like the strimmer and my hori knife. And what have I not brought with me? That is the problem, you see, with taking things home, is that it's impossible for me to remember to bring them back. So I'm going to have to use a poor substitute for hori to plant my spinach. Not impressed. Hey girls, not impressed. You see my face? Yeah, not happy. I'm going to go. Dibber it is. Just remembered that I actually want to put, because they've just come straight out of the greenhouse, I want to, because they've been in the greenhouse and really protected, and although it's not actually cold out here, it's only getting down to about 12. Oh, sorry, thighs aren't strong enough to crouch like that. Right, sorry, right where I want to crouch, there is like some bags of compost, and it's a bit awkward. What I'm trying to say is that inside the greenhouse has been quite a consistent temperature, and we're starting to drop down to about 12 at night this coming week. So I'm going to plant those spinach in like a smaller area so I can fit one of those super cheap home base cloches over the top. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I need to get one actually to check the size. Let me do that first. Rather than plonk it right in the centre like I did when I was planting out the bok choy, I'm going to be a bit more sensible about it this time and plant it at one edge so that the space on this end is a bit more usable. Much better plan. Okay, cozy spinach. I need to cut some more ends for that, but I've got a bit of space on this end which is still usable, so that's handy. And my kohlrabi, looking sweet. They've put on loads of growth actually since I plonked them in here. But what we do have is a load of broad beans that have come up, about 4 or 5 in this bed. I must have just left some on here. I'm not going to take them out like a weed. I'm going to let them bush up a bit and just use them as kind of a wilting green, like a spinachy type substitute, while we wait for these chaps to come to size. I'm going to take this tray. I need to go and sow the new spinach, and I may as well just use this tray. Mum's been very quiet.
So I'm just about to have to. How much water I feel?
So the roof is still catching water at the moment because I haven't pulled the top surface tight because it's been raining basically since we had that first day when we had the rain. It just hasn't dried out yet properly. So I need the plastic to be completely dry, and then I'm going to take the gutter that I've got on the back of the poly off and pull the plastic back down so that it's taut again, and then put the guttering back on. But it does need to be dry for the tape to work, so we're still waiting. So at the moment Mum is on you know, water duty. Rainwater, saving the rainwater, which is actually quite good having it collect up there, because it means that we're watering the tomatoes with rainwater at the moment, which they seem to be loving. Are you drenched?
No, I'm just weak. A lot of water to get out, actually. You have to get it right in the right place so it
I'm in the wrong spot.
drips into the...
Yeah. But look at all the tomatoes.
And look at that aubergine over there.
We're gonna pick that. We're gonna pick that today, I think. Wow. Oh, bloody leaf. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot to pick, I think.
Quite a lot of tomatoes in here.
Yes. I shall just empty this bucket and start again.
These gorgeousnesses. Sexy sun gold. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Right, let's go and sow some spinach. So I'm going to sow both types of spinach that I just picked up. This tray, I'm not even going to bother changing the compost in it. Like, those spinach seedlings weren't in there for very long, and considering only 6 of them actually germinated, they are not going to have sucked very much out of this soil. So I'm just going to sow straight into the top of this again. And in this larger tray is the one I'm going to sow the Amelia spinach, which is a similar kind of spinach to the Monopa, which I've just planted out. I'm using the larger tray because I want more of them. These are going to be planted out quite tightly together, and they'll mainly be used for salad leaves. So the leaves being picked very, very small and then used for salad over the winter or over the autumn, and then probably spring if they don't bolt. In the smaller tray is where I'm going to plant the Americana spinach that I mentioned earlier that Mum really loves. And it's just the finest spinach, but I'm using the smaller pot because you need far less plants of it. The plants themselves get to a really, really good size, and the leaves are huge. And they have these incredible, really, really thick but completely hollow stems. Basically, it's an absolutely delicious spinach, but I need less of them, and I'll plant them out like proper plants and give them a really good spacing. This will be much more a cooking spinach than a salad spinach. I'm sowing quite a lot in this little pot, although I probably won't need this many, but I'm a bit nervous about the germination rate. Sneaky little git. Hiding in there. That's not fair, is it? That's not fair. Oh well. Give these a soak and get them into the greenhouse, and cross our fingers for better germination than the last time. So I've said this a couple of times this year, that the tomato situation isn't great. I mean, we've got that as a picking. We have been picking quite a lot of tomatoes out of it, to be fair, but last couple of years, even last year, which was not a great year for the tomatoes because we didn't have enough heat, we were just overflowing. Like, this whole basket would have been full. But I'm happy with what we've got. And that aubergine, hello, nice. Yeah, okay, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. Actually, while I'm in here talking about tomatoes, I've been messing around with my Google Sheets list of varieties for next year, and I was having a look at the tomatoes because, as you know, like the beginning of this year, we had the most spectacular array of tomato seed to try out, and actually pretty much none of it came to fruition. Because I decided I was going to grow loads. It's just always the way, isn't it? I decided last year that I was going to grow all of them, like all of the exciting varieties that people had sent me. Even though I didn't have enough space for them in here, I just thought, well, I'll put them outside, I'll do this, I'll do this. I didn't realise that actually none of them were going to happen. But still, it means that next year I've still got all of those ones to try out, but I've realised after my kind of slapdash start to the year, I'm going to be a bit more measured about it next year. My variety selection strategy like ebbs and flows each year. Like some years I start the year and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to grow every variety of this. And how many packets of carrot seeds have I got? 10 different varieties. I'm going to sow them all. And then it tends to be the next year I'm like, no, I'm only going to be growing 2 varieties of carrot, like the best ones. And yeah, it just kind of works like that. And last year was the year that I was going to grow every tomato going. And even though none of it actually worked out, I have decided I'm going to pare it back again for next year, just to kind of rein it in a little bit. But one really exciting discovery that I wasn't going to grow and wasn't on my list, but I happened to find in a garden centre, was the little chap that is green zebra. It's a gorgeous little chap, and it wasn't on my radar at all. I hadn't thought I was going to be growing it. It was just a bit of a chance find. Sadly, in the garden centre that has now closed down in Adrian Halls, but still. Yeah, so that was a really nice find for the year. Where is it? Yeah, little chap. I just thought it was gorgeous. Really, really nice tomato. And like amongst the tomatoes that we've got in here, it's actually been pretty prolific. So yeah, he is on the list for next year. Right, I am so hot. Let me out of here.
What are you up to, small girls? You find lots of wormies? Huh? Lots of wormies? Yeah. We're going to call it a day, girls. We're off. Are you ready to go back inside? You don't look very ready to go back inside, girls. But I'm afraid that is what's happening. Righty-ho, chaps. There is another downpour forecast for this afternoon and the sky is darkening rapidly. So we are going to head off home. Just on a side note, talking about the hose pipe ban, this has appeared on our gate from the council, beautifully done in waterproof style with a couple of staples at the top there. But it's basically saying that Thames Water have put in a number of exceptions to the hose pipe ban, which includes allotments, or it's open to interpretation on allotments. And so basically, yeah, if we need to use the hose, we can still use the hose, which is pretty nice. Hey, Mum's incredibly excited about this, that we've got one half-chewed fig.
Fig. Have I got more white hair?
No, cobwebs are plenty.
Well, two things. Firstly, we just made it home in time because look at this. And secondly, we have come home to find out that the Queen has died. Which is a bit of a shocker. She was only just welcoming in the new Prime Minister yesterday. So, wow. All changed then. I guess we've got King Charles now, I suppose. Yeah, all a bit of a shock, really. Oh well. Just stand there and watch the rain for a bit longer, I think. Whew.
So I've actually just nipped up to town. I'm in St James's Park. I'm only up here to pick something up, but St James's Park, right next to Buckingham Palace. So, hold on, you're plugged into my handbag. Let me just pull you out a bit. There we go. So, seems, you know, Queen's just died and now we've got a new king. I figure I might walk, rather than going that way around the park, I'll walk that way around the park and we'll go and see what's happening at Buckingham Palace. Just call me your up-to-date news reporter from London. This wasn't a planned event, but you know, seems we're here, we might as well go and have a look. What do you think?
Well, I can tell you it's certainly busier than usual in these parts, but look at this. I've just spotted one of my favourite plants. So a lot of people are a bit, you know, poo-poo about fuchsias, but this fuchsia, I just don't see how you can't think that it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. Right, on the approach, look at this. Fuchsia, now I can't remember whether it's Magdalenica or Magdalenica, but is that not just so pretty? It's so subtle. I mean, fuchsias normally are like massive, in-your-face, garish, but this is just so beautiful. Little shell pink flowers just like dripping off it. Oh, it's so beautiful. And the bees are going crazy for it, actually. There's loads of them all over it. It's a beauty. And caught it at exactly the right time, like it's in absolute perfect order. It's just beautiful. I love how the flowers all hang right under the leaves like that. I mean, that's the same with all fuchsias. They do all hang really low. There's just something particularly beautiful about this one. And actually, I'm just walking, there's loads of really beautiful things out at the moment. Look at these. Oh God, I thought that kid was gonna go and jump on them for a second there. Look at the gorgeousness, although it does feel very autumnal. Beautiful. Gee, I tell you what, feeling autumnal, walking along the paths is properly like covered in leaves. I mean, I know they've been really churned up because there's so many people walking along. Like this is the Mall going up towards like St James's Palace and Buckingham Palace and all of that area. But yeah, I mean, look at this. It's just basically like autumn leaves on the ground. Just thought I would like nip to the barrier and see what was going on, and look at this guy. This bloke is trying to get that massive crown on the top of that pole. Excellent. Well, I timed that quite well. Didn't get to see the king, but I'm not hanging around. I mean, yeah, I only wanted to see what the crowds look like, really. Anyway, let's carry on with what we were doing before. Which is picking up a parcel and indulging in an absolutely vast lunch all to myself. Okay, now I'm stuffed. Now I'm really, really full. I'm gonna get the train home. Well, despite not being a crazy royalist, I'm quite pleased I came up. I wasn't intending to come and stand in the crowds, but you know, she's been on the throne for 70 years and this doesn't happen very often. So I'm quite pleased I did. Anyway, tomorrow morning, back at the allotment. I'll see you then. Absolutely beautiful now, sunny, but I'm pretty soggy. I got caught in a shower on my way up here, so I'm damp, and now the sun's out, I'm steamy. Okay, girlies, I'm coming. I'm coming. Yeah, no, I'm soggy. I'm soggy. I'm soggy. Hey girls, are you ready? Come on in, out you come.
Three beautiful girls. Yeah. Whew, God. Although the temperatures have dropped massively, the sun has still got so much heat in it. Well, one of my main reasons for coming up here this morning was to answer some more of the Q&A questions from last week. But we seem to be right under the flight path today, like they've shifted this way, whatever the wind direction is. And there's not even a gap between the aeroplanes. So, oh, there's another one. So I don't think it's going to be possible. So I'm just going to get on with what I was actually going to be doing in the garden. And we might have a go at these at home because this is just, it's not working.
Okay, so call me nuts, but we have decided that we are going to let the tree spinach just completely go self-seeding everywhere this year. This is just about ready to go. It's looking perfect. The reason we've decided to do this is because we really like tree spinach. We eat it quite a lot. I think it's it's not only beautiful, but it's a really useful leafy green. And we found that the self-seeded ones just grow so much better than the ones that we actually try and plant ourselves. And even the self-seeded ones, like, they come up all over the place, obviously. But if you just move them, they transplant really, really well. And we just move them into the bed that we want them to, and we'll just let it go. Now, the reason I say call me mad is I know this is an absolute nightmare of a weed, and this is just a pink, extra big goosefoot. But that's what we're going to do, and we will see how that goes. Yeah. We'll probably end up with a whole allotment just covered in pink goosefoot next year, but that's a risk we're going to take. Hey girls, if we don't eat it, you will, huh? The box that it's in, actually, this one here, is going to be moved, and we're going to dig out the rhubarb that's at the end of this bed, which is a strawberry and rhubarb bed, because the poor rhubarb is in a terrible state. Half the crowns have rotted out. They had a really hard time this year, and some of them are still looking good. So I'm going to dig them all out and give them a bit of a rejuvenation and put them into that square bed box thing when we found out where we're going to put it. This bed is going to end up clear, actually, because we're also going to move out the strawberries, which just didn't work this year. I never really cleared them out in spring when they needed to be weed free, and so we are going to plant them into the asparagus bed, because somebody was telling me that they make really good kind of companion planting in terms of their root structures, so we're going to plant them in there. We're not going to put them into the new asparagus bed because we've already got like gladioli planted in the middle of here, and we've got these magical zinnias. I am loving the zinnias. They make the best cut flower, and they just last for weeks and weeks and weeks. I just think they are fantastic. But yeah, so we are going to be moving the strawberries out of what has been the rhubarb and strawberry bed, like these chaps here. They're looking really healthy now, actually, at the end of the year, and they're going to go into the asparagus bed. Look at this. You know, I said last week that the tromboncino had grown. Well, hello. This is massive, and I've left it a bit late really because I wanted to eat them fresh rather than as dried, but I was just so excited by how fast it was growing. I'm going to have to eat these little ones instead as fresh and leave that big one to do its own thing, because yeah, it's going to be gnarly as all hell by now. On a slightly miraculous front, the Cavallonero hasn't been turfed out the ground in the last couple of days, maybe even a week, which is quite miraculous. I need to give them a bit of a stake because they're all a bit wobbly now, but I will re-support them. I'm touching wood, actually. We haven't had any major digging up events in the last week or so, but I reckon it's just sod's law because I just went and bought a large container of citronella essential oil to spray around the perimeter of the plot. I haven't actually done it yet, it's still sealed, but typical, you know, that's how it works. You go and buy the thing you need and then they just stop coming anyway. But I'm not complaining, What are you shouting about? Have you found something exciting? Have you found something good? Oh, look at Mills, okay, look at these beautiful new feathers she's getting on her neck. Look at those gorgeous quills. Actually, I'm just crouched on the floor here. Look at this. Look at this. A surprise apple. This is the tree that's so we've got one tree, we've got two apple trees here, and one of them's got quite a lot of fruit on it. And this one, from up here, from standing height, you couldn't see it. It has got nothing else on the whole of it. So we thought it didn't have any apples, but there's one, which is a rather pleasant surprise. Also, have a look at this. Goji berries on that little plant that had those incredible purple flowers. Do you remember? Actually, I've never tried a goji berry before, not a fresh one.
I thought they might be bitter. You know, dried goji berries can be a bit, they've got a distinctive taste, shall we say. That's actually really delicious. God, gap between planes. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to do two things. You know the dill that I planted out, the really diligent dill where with a little pencil that then got dug up. I'm going to plant some more of that. I'm a glutton for punishment. And I'm going to plant out some of the cabbages, the spring cabbages that I've grown to use as kind of like leafy greens rather than for them to form proper cabbages. So I'm going to get them into a bed, I think. Ooh. Okay, planting out time. When I said last week, you know, sometimes videos are just planting out, that seems to be this one. It's planting out spinach, queen dies, we've got a new king, planting out cabbages. That's the general flow of this video. Exciting. Okay, so these ones coming out with me. And I really need to get these in the ground, so I might put these out too. Question is where though? Can't remember what beds we decided we were going to have brassicas in earlier, and whatever plan I did have went completely out the window because I haven't got any prepared. There's a little space between the Cavallonero, but I'm loath to take the cage off because I've like cable tied it together. There is the courgette bed though, where they keep being dug up at one end. They're going to be finished fairly soon. I could plant the brassicas, the not curly kale, what have I got? Purple sprouting broccoli and the primo cabbages. I could plant them between the courgettes, and then when the courgettes come out, they will be left in the ground. I think I might do that. Now 4 rows of pretty little brassicas. I'm hoping I've given them a good start with that. The lime was necessary because of the club root risk. Hope the bloodfish and bone gives them a bit of a boost. Well, that's the brassica bed decided on. It's actually quite handy because it's right opposite the perennial brassica bed, so that will kind of tie in quite nicely. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. I'm also quite pleased with myself because I've been ruthless. Look, I've got spare plants, and do you know what I'm not doing? I'm not just bunging them in. Woo! Maybe I'm learning. I doubt it. Okay, still haven't found a home for these. These are the spring greens cabbages. I mean, I could put them in the end of this bed. I could pull out the, yeah, this was the failed sweet peas. I've just left them there as a monument to their failure. I could put them in there. Decisions, I don't know. What I do know though is I'm starving, and Mum is at home waiting for a guy to come and check out our kitchen floor. So I might just pick something, go home, make some lunch. Okay, there is a patty pan that needs taking. Maybe a bit of chard.
Well, what's that? 10-15 minutes start to finish. I mean, you can't go wrong with that, can you? Okay, well, I think I've got the rest of that video down to about 38 minutes, which gives me a little bit of time to tackle those questions. There's no aeroplanes flying over the house, so I can actually do a bit of talking recording. So I have got myself an Inches cider, and we're going to tackle this question about favourite veg, because I've been really mulling this one over. So the questions came in a whole variety, like there was quite a lot of questions along a similar vein. In general, what's your favourite veg? But there were some more specific ones, and I'm going to kind of merge them all together. So I'll take the two. So Gary was like, what is your favourite vegetable? Which is like nice, simple, straight to the point. Simon said, I'm on a desert island. There's an allotment on the desert island, which is very handy. Thank you for that. That's convenient. And I've already got chickens. So his question is, I need to pick 2 packets of seed and a hand tool. And Miles has asked if I could grow only one other thing other than tomatoes and chard, what would it be? Right, so I'm going to merge these questions all together and pretend I've got an allotment on a desert island. I've already got chard and tomatoes growing and chickens, and then I've got to choose 2 others and a hand tool. Well, the hand tool is going to be the serrated hori, no questions asked. That tool has been amazing, despite me having to spend the week without it because I'm physically incapable of remembering to take it with me. I've put it in my backpack now, so it's like set to go when I go up there. But yeah, so hori definitely, you can dig with it, you can cut with it, you can do pretty much anything you need to do with it. So that one's sorted. going around to the vegetables thing. Now, this is not quite the same question as favourite vegetable. It's like, what would I take to a desert island if I could only take 2 things other than tomatoes and chard? And I've decided on tree cabbage seeds and a white seeded runner bean for very practical reasons. Firstly, the tree cabbages are brilliant and you can eat them all year round. You get 2 different types of crop from them. So you get cabbage leaves for the whole year, and then you get about 2 months of sprouting florets in spring. So that gives me kind of 2 crops out of the one plant, and also they are like basically permanent, or they'll last you a good few years once they've got established. So that would be one of them. And the other one, the white seeded runner bean, likewise you get 2 crops out of them. So I mean obviously all runner bean seeds you can save, dry and eat, but the white ones, I mean, if you know normal like runner bean seeds are kind of a black with like a purple speckle on them, like you can eat them just the same as the white ones, but they turn everything you cook to like a weird pucey purpley brown colour, which isn't that nice. So I'd go for a white seeded runner bean so that I would be able to have them as fresh runner beans. I'd also be able to dry the beans and use them later as dried. That would be my 2 choices, but that is not necessarily favourite vegetable, and I have thought about this one and I can't come up with one. Like, what's so nice about growing your own vegetables is that you just get the most enormous variety, and you don't have to like go to the supermarket and what have you got, carrots, broccoli. I mean, admittedly it's not quite that bad anymore, you've got sort of a whole array of stuff in the supermarket now, but it was always really bog standard, you know, you've got broccoli, carrots, a swede or something, you know. And growing your own, when you can just choose from huge number of different veg, and that they all come at different times of year, so you don't get sick of them, like you really overdo it with one thing but it's only there for a short time, so you overdo it and you think, I never ever want to see that again in my life, but by the time, you know, it's time to go again next year, you're absolutely raring for it. So I can't answer the favourite veg question, I apologise. Am I alone in this not being able to find just like a single favourite vegetable? Am I alone in this, or does everybody like have their go-to favourite veg? Tell me below. Favourite veg. I'll allow you 2. You can have 2 favourite veg. And how are we doing for time? Pretty good. I think we've got time for another couple of questions. Actually, this one's quite relevant to something that's coming up next week. So John is asking, how do you keep track of all your crops in terms of when to start, transplant, harvest, etc, etc? Well, I'm currently doing a bit of a seed audit at the moment. And you know, earlier in the video, I had said that I tend to go for 1 year I grow everything I've got, and then the next year I tend to cut it right down, and then the next year I go big again. I kind of do kind of a growing pattern like this. Well, this year coming up, I'm trying to be a bit more level-headed about the varieties that I grow, and I've started the list. So, and on that list, so I have always got a, you know, like a spreadsheet. I love a spreadsheet of all the like the varieties that I'm growing, and then I've got one of all the seed that I've got, and then I've got one which is all like the varieties that I want to grow. This year I'm being really strict about not just like getting overexcited and listing hundreds of varieties, but I'm being quite kind of careful about it. And as I'm inputting which variety I've chosen and I am actually going to do, I'm also putting in the time that I'm going to sow it. So not like on the back of the seed packet where it says you can sow it between February and June, for example. I'm choosing when I'm going to sow that. Obviously it depends slightly on the weather, but I'm choosing when I'm going to sow it, and then following on from there where you're going to kind of put them out and when I would expecting them to crop. That's also going to help me quite a lot with the repeat sowings, because I got a bit lost with the repeat sowings last year. I've just realised I've neglected my cider. Oh, cheers. Yeah, so I'm kind of starting to plan that out a bit now. I'm going to be trying this year to kind of be organised. Sounds pretty unlikely. But I'm going to show you my spreadsheet next week. I know. I'm going to show that to you and kind of talk about what I'm planning and how I'm planning to do it, and we'll go through that. So I'll probably answer that question more next week. That was a really deeply inadequate answer, wasn't it?
Anyway, enough of that. But yeah, so it's been a very strange week, this one. We've got a couple of weird weeks coming up, actually. Actually, one of the questions that I had was about, do you ever get a chance to go on holiday? Like proper holiday rather than just like whizzing from place to place. And actually, not next week, but the week after, we're going on holiday. So that'll be exciting. A real holiday. So yeah, anyway, I'm just going to say cheers because now, even though I had time, I think I've probably run out of it. So Monday cheers for the Monday Clubbers on Patreon. You're marvellous. And Tuesday cheers to the rest of you. Hope you have an excellent, excellent week.